If you want coaching, the link is in the description and pinned comment. That's where theory stops being entertainment and starts becoming leverage. And before you get comfortable, our latest Patreon video is live. How to talk to women and dominate their mind. Watch it after this, because this video explains how men quietly demote themselves. The Patreon shows how they stop doing that. Here's the hook, and if it doesn't make you shift in your chair, you're already lost. The moment a woman realizes you never say no, she stops seeing you as a man and starts seeing you as infrastructure. Useful, taken for granted, invisible, until it breaks. Men think endless agreement is devotion. Women read it as surrender. And surrender is boring. When you never say no, you think you're signaling strength through patience. What you're actually broadcasting is fear. Fear of conflict. Fear of disapproval. Fear of being replaced. Fear is not subtle. It leaks through your tone, your timing, your posture, your availability. You can dress it up in kindness, but it still smells like panic. Women don't need to be cruel to respond to this. They simply adjust. They stop editing themselves around you. They stop investing energy in keeping your attention. They assume it's permanent. And permanence, when unearned, is the fastest sedative known to desire. Men who never say no confuse peace with power. Peace is what you get after you've proven you can disrupt the environment. Without that proof, peace is just compliance wearing a halo. Women are not attracted to halos. They're attracted to gravity. What goes through a woman's mind when you never say no isn't romantic or malicious. It's logistical. She thinks you'll be there regardless. She thinks your time is flexible. She thinks your boundaries are negotiable. She thinks you're safe to deprioritize. Safety sounds nice until you realize what kind of safety it is. The kind reserved for things that don't leave. This is why the nicest men are often treated the worst. Not abused, not attacked. Worse. Ignored. Assumed. Used as emotional storage. Men who never say no don't get hated. They get managed. There's a quiet contempt reserved for people who won't resist. Not loud disdain, just a dull lack of respect. Women don't announce it. They feel it. And feelings drive behavior long before logic writes a memo. You think you're being chosen every day she stays. You're not. You're being tolerated until something more stimulating, more anchored, more self-directed appears. And when it does, your exit will be clean. No argument. No closure speech. Just a cooling that feels like the room lost heat overnight. Here's the dark joke. Men say yes to avoid discomfort, then live in permanent discomfort anyway. They trade one awkward moment for a slow erosion of status. That's not strategy. That's cowardice with good manners. Women who can play men understand this dynamic instinctively. They don't need books or podcasts. They sense when a man's yes is automatic. Once they sense it, they stop negotiating. Why negotiate with a door that's already open? There's actual psychology behind this, if you need science to hold your hand. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that individuals who consistently accommodate others at the expense of their own preferences are perceived as having lower power and become less desirable over time. Power, perceived power, and attraction are braided together. You weaken one, the others unravel. Saying no isn't about being difficult. It's about being legible. It tells the world where you end. Without that edge, people project whatever they want onto you. And what they project isn't admiration. It's utility. When you never say no, you also remove uncertainty. Uncertainty is not anxiety. It's curiosity. It's the question mark that keeps attention alive. Total predictability kills curiosity. You don't watch a movie when you know every line. You don't desire a man whose reactions are guaranteed. Men hate this truth because it implies that being agreeable is not virtuous. It's tactical suicide. They were raised to believe that compromise earns love. Compromise without leverage earns dismissal. Watch how a woman treats a man who occasionally denies her. Not rudely, not theatrically, just calmly unavailable to certain demands. Her attention sharpens, her behavior adjusts. She reevaluates. Not because she enjoys being told no, but because she's now dealing with someone who has internal law. Internal law is intoxicating. It suggests a man is governed by something other than external approval, that he won't dissolve under pressure, that his presence is chosen, not coerced by fear. Men who never say no often advertise themselves as low maintenance. What they really are is low consequence, and low consequence men are easy to replace. There's no cost to removal. Women don't want to fight for everything. They want to know there's something to fight against. Resistance creates shape. Shape creates desire. A man with no edges has no form. Here's where the humor gets ugly. Men think flowers fix disrespect. They don't. Boundaries do. Flowers wilt. Boundaries change behavior. One is decoration. The other is architecture. When you never say no, you also teach her something dangerous. That your needs don't matter. And if your needs don't matter to you, why should they matter to her? People treat you the way you train them to. This is why phrases like, "I just want you to be happy," are often read as weakness. Not because happiness is bad, but because the subtext is surrender. You're placing her emotional state above your own structure. That's not noble. That's unstable. Women respect men who can disappoint them without collapsing. That ability signals strength far more clearly than constant accommodation. It says, "I can withstand your displeasure." And that is rare. Men who never say no are terrified of being disliked. Ironically, this guarantees they'll never be deeply liked. They'll be appreciated in the way a charging cable is appreciated, until a better one shows up. There's a reason women often behave worse after a man commits fully. The commitment revealed that resistance is gone. Once resistance is gone, there's nothing left to test against. Testing doesn't stop. It just goes unanswered. This isn't about dominance. It's about direction. A man with direction doesn't need to assert himself loudly. His no is quiet, firm, and final. No explanations. No justifications. Explanation is a plea dressed up as logic. Now let's get practical, because insight without application is just another way to feel superior while staying stuck. For the next week, notice how often you agree reflexively. Not because you want to, but because you're afraid of the outcome if you don't. In those moments, pause. Feel the anxiety. Then decide deliberately. Even if you still say yes, the pause changes you. Awareness precedes control. Then pick one area where your availability has become a joke. Time is the usual suspect. Reclaim a portion of it without announcement. Don't explain. Don't negotiate. Just be less accessible. Watch what happens. Attention often returns, disguised as irritation. That irritation is respect stretching its legs. Practice saying no to something small every day. Not to be dramatic, but to recalibrate your nervous system. You'll discover that the world doesn't end. People adjust. The ones who don't were never negotiating in good faith anyway. Pay attention to how women react when your yes is no longer guaranteed. Some will lean in. Some will pull away. Both reactions are useful. One reveals attraction. The other reveals dependence on control. Neither should scare you. Write down the last time you said yes when you meant no. Be honest about the cost. Time, resentment, self-respect. Then imagine the version of you who said no. Not the fantasy hero. Just the man who chose himself. That gap is where your work lives. If this video made you uncomfortable, good. Comfort is where weak habits breed. If it clarified something you've been avoiding, even better. If you like this video, subscribe. This channel isn't here to pet your ego. It's here to sharpen it into something useful. And comment below. What's one situation where your inability to say no cost you respect? And what would change if you stopped negotiating your boundaries this week? Say it out loud. Silence is how the pattern survives. Welcome to the dark side of your mind, an armory disguised as advice. Everything here exists to give you clarity sharper than the games being played against you. The reading is where I dissect your situation with precision. What he meant, what he didn't, what you missed. About 1,000 words, plus one follow-up question to tighten the strategy. The case file is the full autopsy, a complete psychological breakdown in writing, plus a private audio message so you hear the parts most people avoid. One follow-up to lock it in. If you want speed, there's the whisper. 400 words. Direct. Unfiltered. No extra dialogue. If you prefer tone and voice, the weight of the message itself, the transmission gives you a private audio response. No follow-up. No hand-holding. And if your situation is messy enough for multiple angles, buy 2 services, and the third is free. Strategy rewards commitment. If you want the truth delivered publicly, without exposing yourself, there's the public whisper. One question, one strategic answer, posted for others to learn from. Short, clean, no follow-up. You already know why you're here. You ask your question, and within 72 hours, you get clarity most people never develop. Emotional discipline, psychological leverage, the ability to stop repeating patterns that drain you. The dark side of your mind isn't here to soothe you. It's here to change how you move.